Alrighty. Everybody, let's go today, I think.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Alright. So today is Tuesday. We are going to read chapter 8. Who remembers where we left off for chapter 7?
Brian's alone, rethinking his
Brian's
life.
alive.
Okay. What did he just build?
A little hut-ish thing.
Like a little shelter thing, right?
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, a shelter thing. Out of like a cliff type thing, and he brought some sticks up and had like a 15-foot room. So,
That's pretty.
That's
Yeah.
big. Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. That's bigger than my room.
yeah, so it's pretty spacious. Yeah, he does not have a kitchen. He does not have a bathroom, so it would not sell for much if you posted it on Zillow. It's handmade. Yeah, exactly. Alright, chapter 8, we're going to read. My goal is to do the questions and then give you guys some time to work on makeup work for quarter 3. There's a lot of missing work out there. No.
After chapter 8, at first he thought it was a grog. And the stone in the middle.
Yeah, unfortunately, the person who did the original ones, which I like those better, but they don't go all the way through the book. So, I know.
It's lame.
It is lame. So we're gonna have to switch gears.
His eyes came open, and he was awake, and he thought there was a grog. But it was the wind. A medium wind in the pines had made some sound that brought him awake. He sat up and was hit with the smell and terrified him. The smell was one of rot, some mud and rot that opened things to make graves and cobwebs.
Okay, so he's in his shelter. He's asleep, and then something is and there's a smell. What kind of animal do you think it could be?
A snake.
Okay.
His nostrils widened, and he opened his eyes wide, but he could see nothing. It was too dark, too hard dark with clouds covering. even the small light from the stars, and he could not see. But the smell was alive and full and in the shelter. He thought of the bear, thought of Bigfoot and every monster he had ever seen and every fright movie he had ever watched, and his heart hammered in his throat. Then he heard the slithering, a slithering, brushing sound near his feet, and he kicked out as hard as he could, kicked out and threw the hatchet at the sound, the noise coming from his throat. But the hatchet sailed into the wall where he hit the rocks with a shower of sparks, and his leg was instantly torn in two, as if 100 needles had driven into it. Now he screamed with the pain and fear, and skittered on his backside up into the corner of the shelter, breathing through his mouth, straining to see, to hear. The slither.
Okay, so we have something in the shelter. He hears like slithering, and then he feels something like 100 needles that have been driven into his leg. What could this animal be?
Snake?
A snake? Porcupine! Why a porcupine?
A porcupine.
How? A porcupine.
I think it's a snake. You guys are saying it's a porcupine? How nice.
It's a snake.
Porcupine. It is a porcupine.
Okay.
Porcupine.
So we have slithering. It could be a snake. The snake could have bit him, and that could be the needles.
It's a porcupine.
What would
Maybe
be
it's a snorcupine.
Snorcupine.
What's the text evidence for the porcupine? The needle.
1,000.
What would be the needles? What do we call
It's quills.
the quills? Could be the quills. So there's text evidence for both snake and porcupine. We really don't know until we keep reading to find out.
But it's gotta be a snorcupine.
Yes.
Snake.
He fought toward him at first, and the terror took him, stopping his breath. He felt he could see a low, dark form, a bulk in the darkness, a shadow that moved. But now it moved away. Slithering and scraping, it moved away, and he saw, or thought he saw it, go out of the door opening. He lay on his side for a moment, then pulled the rasping breath in and held it, listening for the attacker to return. When it was apparent that the shadow wasn't coming back, he felt the calf of his leg where the pain was centered and spreading to fill the whole leg. His fingers gingerly touched the group of needles that had been driven through his pants of his calf. They were stiff and very sharp on the ends that stuck out, and he knew then what the attacker had been. A porcupine had stumbled into his shelter, and when he had kicked it, the thing had a tail of quills. He touched each quill carefully. The pain made it seem as if dozens of them had been slammed into his leg, but there were only 8, pinning the cloth against his skin. He leaned back against the wall firm. Couldn't leave them in. They had to come out, but just touching them made the pain more intense. So fast things changed. When he'd gone to sleep, he had satisfaction. And in just a moment, it was all different. He grabbed one of the quills, held his breath, and jerked. It sent pain signals to his brain in tight waves. But he grabbed another, pulled it, then another quill. When he had pulled he breathed deeply twice, let half of his breath out, and went back to work. Jerk, pause, jerk. And 3 more times before he lay back, in the darkness, done. Pain filled his leg now, and with it came new waves of self-pity. Sitting alone in the dark, his leg aching, some mosquitoes finding him again, he started crying. It was all too much. Just too much, and he couldn't take it. Not the way it was. I can't take it this way. Alone, with no fire in the dark. And next time it might be something worse. Maybe a bear. It wouldn't be just quills in my leg. It would be worse. I can't do this, he thought, again and again. I can't. Brian pulled himself up until he was sitting. He put his head down in his arms, crossed his knees, with stiffness taking his left leg, and cried until he was cried out. He did not know how long it took, but later he looked back on the son crying in the corner of the dark cave and thought of it as when he learned the most important rule of survival, which was that feeling sorry for himself. It wasn't just that it was wrong to do, or that it was considered incorrect. It was more than that. It didn't work. When he sat alone in the darkness and cried, and was done, all done with it, nothing had changed. His legs still hurt, and it was still dark. He was still